Hello, sweet souls. It's DTO in the flow, and I am wishing you an amazing moment. And today I get to interview Stefanos Sifandos, and he has been immersed in deep men's empowerment work and the exploration of intimate and sacred relationships, merging the best of Eastern and Western methodologies, and philosophies to promote balance, union, and power in life and love. Using integrative techniques and methods such as neural empowerment, shamanic praxis, holotropic and biodynamic breathwork, trauma release and integration, Western psychology, Eastern mysticism, and more, Stefanos has created programs, models, and systems to enhance the quality of your life, your intimate relationships, and in essence, bring you closer to your potential. Having worked with thousands of men and women from all over the world, elite special force soldiers, Olympic gold medalists, some of the best fighters, multiple world champions, and leveraging physical challenge as an opportunity for transformation and expansion, Stefanos has learned much about the male and masculine condition, and as a result, deep insight into the feminine and female condition. Having also traversed the depths of his own pain, suicidal thoughts, and fears profoundly, he has overcome destructive patterns and has faced the overcome the multiple ego deaths. Stefanos understands there is a difference between culturally defined masculinity and sacred masculinity. He further explores what it means to be a good man and to be good at being a man in today's world. By restructuring and reframing his own masculinity and movement through the world as a man relating to himself, his environment, women, and his purpose, he has discovered and created methodologies and innovative models for navigating the often difficult path of contemporary manhood and intimate relationships. Stefanos places his focus and energy towards evolving the natural relationships in contemporary times. An advocate and proponent of sacred union, Stefanos believes cultivating healthy relationships to self, ideas, and others, our lovers, and the earth will liberate humanity towards a new empowered expression of itself. Through a deeper connection to God, earth, and self, Stefanos realized the power of the human spirit. We often avoid fear and pain. However, the modern man, now more than ever, they are tools, and there are these tools for transformation that can help us heal universally. Okay, so let's bring on Stefanos.
Hey, my friend, how are you?
Doing well. Appreciate your presence. And as it says in the title here, you're a behavioral scientist and relationship coach. Really powerful. And so that leads directly into my first question, which is, speaking into relationships and behavior with what's happening on the planet. What are your thoughts on the state of the world?
I think my thoughts are that there's a lot of unknown and uncertainty, and that's what I do know. I know that there's a great deal of narrative and rhetoric around what is happening and what is not happening, whether it be a conspiracy theory or theories, whether it be the legitimacy of this virus. I definitely caution people to err on the safer side and be very aware and listen to what some credible organizations, universities, medical institutions are saying. Mm-hmm. And treat a virus as it could be a virus. And that means we do have to self-isolate to some extent. We have to build our immune systems. These are things that, solitude is a healthy practice. Having a healthy immune system and healthy physical practices around our health, our nutrition, our supplementation, our movement, our mindset, our mental and emotional faculties. These are things that I think are very important and imperative to do as human beings anyway. And so we're almost being asked to do what we should be doing as a greater collective, especially those that have access to those resources, those of us that have access to clean, healthy food, those of us that have access to clean water, to air purifiers, to supplementation and so forth. We're being asked to elevate our immune systems and elevate our own internal health to be able to deal with a potential outbreak. And some would say, the outbreak's already occurred with this virus. The state of the world for me is I don't know enough about what's going on. And in that uncertainty, we have a natural propensity as humans, I know I do, to be in more fear. And so it's about now regulating the fear as well, and the crazy thoughts that are sort of compounded and compounded and compounded, because having that fear and being in that panic state and having a tensile nervous system that suppresses our immune system, that inhibits effective digestive function. So we have this follow-on effect, this physiological follow-on effect. It affects our behavior as well, how we interact with others. We start pushing people away, so we feel even more isolated than we're already feeling. We're feeling more restricted. Fear is a restrictive state. We're feeling more constricted, less freedom. And so what happens when we feel even less freedom? We sort of outbreak. We outlash into the world. We become more reactive. We panic and we take action in irrational forms. And so the opportunity for us all is to take a breath, pause, slow down, and just make some decisions based on what we do know and what's happening now, whilst calmly preparing for the unknown in the best way that we possibly can. And for me, it's just minimizing the impact. That's all that we can do. We can't control what's outside of us. We can control how we respond. And there's even an extent to that as well. So whilst we are in some level of control of our own internal faculties, psychological and emotional, I think would really pay a great deal for our greater collective to master that and being as much calm as possible.
Wow. So there are 3 words that are on your YouTube channel: resilience, awareness, and expansion. So that leads me into the next question. So how do we get to observe ourselves during these challenges?
Yeah. Get to witness how we're showing up. Are we more agitated and frustrated than usual? Are we more fearful than usual? Are we behaving in extreme ways that we're just not accustomed to behaving in? I think observing ourselves is very important. I think right now what's happening for many of us, that little boy or girl inside of us, that inner child dynamic, is panicking, is fearful, is scared, and is informing our nervous system, and is also informing our behavior today, the way that we're interacting with others and ourselves and making choices. And when we get to observe these parts of us that are in great fear, and we get to ask these parts of us what they need. And so emotional processing right now is imperative. And if you have access to a psychotherapist, a psychologist, a counselor, a spiritual healer, a guide, a group of people, and this can all be done virtually, right? I get that we're being asked to physically isolate, and I think respecting that in the interim until we understand at a deeper level what's happening is not going to be the worst thing that we can do. Again, solitude, deliberate solitude. I know this is somewhat forced upon us, but if we can turn it around internally and switch the perspective, and the deliberate solitude, making a choice to be in solitude, can be really helpful for us, because it brings us face to face with a lot of unknown and creates a greater space within ourselves to observe ourselves. But I think really doing emotional processing right now on a regular level, on a daily basis, whether it's allowing ourselves to cry, maybe doing some release writing, then tearing that paper up, is getting those emotions and thoughts out of our bodies so we're not feeling the tension within us. Maybe it's hitting a pillow, maybe it's hitting a mattress, maybe it's releasing the anger and the frustration, maybe it's moving your body as well, like exercise, general movement, doing burpees, skipping. You don't need equipment. I get it. Equipment's nice. But we can also do a lot just on our own.
Yeah.
So, how we get to observe ourselves during these challenges is we get to ask ourselves, do we want to react or do we want to respond? And then making a very clear, definitive choice on what that looks like. Right now, the energetic that we're being asked to be in is both a masculine and feminine energetic, in terms of, and these energies reside in all of us. And the masculine energetic is to create structure and known and discipline and routine in our lives, so that we are experiencing more familiarity, which helps move and shift us away from this fear of uncertainty. We're also being asked to really step into nurturing self-care and compassion. These are the feminine virtues, or feminine qualities. So saying feminine virtues sometimes is an oxymoron, but feminine qualities, right? And so we're being asked to be in greater balance and harmony. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm witnessing. And so I just use the example of masculine, feminine, energetic as a example of that. And we're asked to be less extreme. We're asked to slow down. I think, when we look at what's happening at a collective, how we distribute, produce, create, extract energy, which drives so much of our humanity. We're doing that in excessive, exuberant ways. We're doing that in a way that the earth isn't recovering, which is our support system for our existence, our consciousness, our expression in the world. And that's just one small part of it. We're also being asked to look at the way we are hygienic with ourselves at a collective and individual level, how we're sanitary, what's our contribution, not so much to a virus. I mean, viruses they've been here before humanity, they'll be here after humanity. We're responsible for it, but what's our contribution to the interconnected ecosystem? Because we have a big contribution. Our consciousness, the way that we think and feel and move through the world, we are very powerful in the container of this earth. And so we have to assume, or we have to take responsibility for our contribution to the ongoing evolution of things. Of course, that doesn't mean that we place ourselves in this position of a god per se, but we are contributing to the world. And so observing that is very important as well.
Yeah, and you touched a little bit on ways that we get to be and become, and creating that connection. And for me, self-care has been a huge message that's come up. Actually, last night, Emily and I, right here in our living room, we were practicing yoga, and we're cueing each other and kind of doing a tag team. It's like, wow. And then we've been walking in nature a lot more often. And then there's this like masculine, hey, almost like, I got to get prepared. We got to get more water. We got to carry gallons. And that protective, provider within me is starting to emerge even deeper. And so question 3 here is, what's one practice you recommend in this moment for everyone that's listening?
I would say there are many. I mentioned one before about the emotional processing, which is important, but there are many. But I would say start with breath. Start with the deliberate breathing practice multiple times during the day. Let me just give you one very, very simple one now. It's a binary breath technique, super simple. Breathe in through your nose for as long as you want. It could be 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 12 seconds, whatever. Whatever your breath is on the inhale, whatever the count is, maybe it's 5, double it on the exhale. So if you inhale through your nose for a 5 count, exhale through your nose for a 10 count. And do that for a few minutes, multiple times a day. That will relax your nervous system and soften you up. If you want me to give you others, I can give you many, many more, but that's a very simple one to start with.
I'd love for you to guide us in that breath work for anyone. We're all home, we're all on the screens, we're here.
Yeah, for sure. Let me guide you through it. So take a breath in, just however you want, through your nose or through your mouth. When we breathe nasally, when we breathe through our nose, there's a greater level of purification that takes place in our lungs as well. So nasal breathing is really important for various reasons. It doesn't mean that mouth breathing is not important and doesn't have a place. It absolutely does. But if you're not talking, you should always be breathing through your nose. Do your best to do that. So I want to just empty that air out of our lungs. So take a breath in. Breathing through the nose now. You just want to hold just for a brief second, and then you just want to exhale all of that air out, double the count. And then you want to just be cyclical with that breath and just repeat. And you would do that for a few minutes. So you would breathe in through the nose, maybe a 5 count or a 6 count. Then you would breathe out through the nose, 10 count or 12 count. And there was a very slight pause just at the top of the inhale. And as you're exhaling, just visualize letting go. Visualize release and softness in your body, in your mind, in your being. Just let it go. And on the inhale, just really inhaling strength and vitality and power. And just do that for literally 3 to 5 minutes, multiple times a day. Whenever you feel stressed, that will help a great deal.
Wow. Really reinvigorated. I have a song that is actually my most streamed song called Breath. And during these times, it's more than ever vital that we are able to, because remember, this is a respiratory, pulmonary, um, you know, immunity conversation around this
Yeah.
virus and what
Yeah.
it does. And I even heard, I'm not sure how accurate because it's information fatigue at this point,
It is.
but hold your breath for 10 seconds. And if
Yeah.
you don't feel pain,
Seen that.
I mean, nevertheless, if you do hold your breath for 10 seconds, exhale for 20 seconds.
Good point. Good call.
That's amazing. Yeah. So I'd love to showcase, because I was on your website and I want to take a look here. I realized that I was living a lie.
Mm.
It wasn't too long ago that I was confronted with the reality that I wasn't who I was portraying myself to be. It was a dark, painful moment, the day I was discovered for living a facade, a life of bullshit, a life of pretense and pretend. Wow, that's powerful. And through that realization and that, breakdown of, like, as you said, everything was bullshit. Like, at some point, what happened, do you feel, or was that the moment, the aha moment, where the transformation, the breakthrough, the awareness that you have, like, become who you're becoming? Like, I'd love for you to share about that, because I think individually, many people that are watching right now may have had some similar experience, and then they maybe just stuff it down and then just keep on going with their normal life. Like, how is it that you emerged, the whole transformation of, metamorphosis of a butterfly, right? You're just gooey nothingness, and all of a sudden you're this divine creature that's flying through the cosmos. So I'd love to hear.
I think we're all divine creatures flying through the cosmos. I think it's a matter of recognizing that which we truly are, our true nature. Advaita Vedanta speaks a great deal to that. Is you're not becoming anything. You're not becoming God or Atman or Brahman, or you're not becoming anything. You're realizing what you've always been. You're realizing that you are this permeating, ever-changing truth. That moment, particularly that's on the website there and that you're referring to, was a very big aha moment for me, because it really shone a light, a very bright light on my lack of integrity, my dishonesty, my living in a facade, my shadow.
Yeah.
Massively highlighting my shadows and highlighting a lot of pain and shame and guilt and failure and disappointment and sadness and pent up anger and rage and all of this that I was really pushing down, repressed trauma that I was ignoring at every level. And that moment there particularly was when I was in a relationship with a woman a few relationships ago, and I was unfaithful all throughout that relationship. And she found out, she discovered that. And in that moment, when she presented that to me and she came to me with that, man, all of the pain that I'd been repressing and suppressing almost just came to the surface. All this shame that I'd been hiding from, all the trauma that I experienced as a child that I'd been ignoring, that I was choosing to move away from, choosing not to look at, choosing not to be present to. It was just, it all came rushing to the surface. And in that moment, I realized so much, but I didn't realize it so much in that moment. I realized that in the coming days and weeks, where I made the decision to just go deep into that no matter what, to go deep into all of that, to go deep into the shadow, to go deep into my pain, to go and not stop until I reached the core of it, because I was tired of it running my life and I was tired of wearing the fucking masks. And so I went all in. And that was, it's a few years, it's a journey. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen in weeks or months. It happened over years. And it's a continual unraveling. I don't think we ever stop growing. I think the moment we become enlightened, per se, is the moment we get to choose to stop growing. But if we're here on this earth, we're generating karma, we're shooting arrows from our bow, you know? And so those arrows are emotion, those arrows are karma. The moment we're taking action, we're physical in this life, we're creating. And so if we're creating karma, that means we're growing to some degree. I think that's where most human beings are. You know, I think that's very, very few maybe get to that place of enlightenment. Not that that's a place that none of us can get to. I think it's just a place that, and when I say place, I'm not talking about a physical place. I'm talking about this level of gnosis within. And so we're always going to grow, and I embrace that. And I feel I need that in my life. I want to grow. I want to continue to grow, be open to all of that. That's a really beautiful thing for me.
Well, I appreciate you really allowing for those of us, as you said, the shadow work, and to go there, and to, you know, the cave that we fear is where the treasure lies. And yeah, it's powerful. And so what inspired you to teach once you created this self-awareness and, as you said, realization?
For me, and I want to say always, not in an objective, definitive, or absolute way, but from a very young age, I wanted to teach and serve and give. And that was because I felt very alone. I felt very isolated. I felt not seen, experienced a lot of abuse as a child, and so felt very disconnected. And so I wanted to give. You know, Dr. John Demartini says this. I say this often. He says our voids become our values, and what we didn't experience or what was missing from our lives becomes what we value the most as adults. And so I really started teaching health and wellness in different ways and different shapes and forms from a very young age. In my teens, and then coming out of high school, almost immediately into the health and wellness space. And then I went to university a little bit later. I traveled a lot first. I mean, I'm always traveling, but I traveled quite a great deal out of high school. Worked on cruise ships and so forth. Really saw a lot of the world and got very cultured very quickly. I'd always wanted, it was within me. And the thing is, it was coming from a place of pain. And once I started to shift and became more in integrity myself, and started to live less from the shadow and more from, not my light per se, but just more openness and transparency, right?
Yeah.
I realized, I still want to teach. That hasn't changed. It's actually only deepened. And I just had more clarity about it and discernment. And I was able to move forward with more clarity, structure, discernment, discipline, feeling, connection, power, like real power, not autocratic, subjugating power, but fucking power. That was just driven from the essence of just pure truth. Like, yes, I know what I'm here to do. I know what I'm here to be. I know how I'm here to serve. Bang, let's go. It just deepened. That's really what it was.
Wow, that's powerful. And I appreciate your contribution and generosity, because a lot of times we realize the gifts and specialties, our dharma, and we stay stuck and we continually be in our heads about it. We don't take action. And for you to be able to share and be of contribution, it's really powerful. And I want to share with everyone your YouTube channel and some of the topics that you bring into the forefront, and confidence versus convenience. Love that. Becoming a conscious warrior and reclaim your kingdom. And, you know, there's gratitude, relationships, cooperation, connection to self, the power of emotional venting. And earlier you talked about, you know, releasing whatever the energy that swells and builds. And, you know, it's like a Old Faithful, right? The geyser, it builds if it doesn't have that release, you know? And so it's really powerful, because when there's restriction happening on our planet, you know, as you said, guide us with the breath work, there's an opportunity for us to just release and really sort it out.
Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. And so my next question is, what's unique about your sessions and programs?
It's a great question. And the way I answer that, it's a great question because what immediately comes to mind is we are all unique. Of course we are. We all have
Yeah.
our own individual blueprint, social blueprint and expression that we layer into the world. And whilst we're completely unique, we are also very similar. And we are, and I love how Carl Sagan puts this, we are a mote of dust floating through the cosmos, essentially. And so we're unique, but we're also not that special, but we are. It's this paradox that we get caught in. What's unique about my sessions and programs is me. I mean, and I don't mean that from an egotistical perspective. I mean, I'm just not someone else teaching the work that I do. Am I the only one that teaches masculine and feminine dynamics or inner child wounding and healing from trauma and psychosocial dynamics and parental wounding? No, definitely not. I'm not the first, I won't be the last. Am I the first to teach somatic or breath work or integrate somatic work or physical work, breath work in emotional release techniques? And have I created some of my own trauma release techniques? Yeah, but they're based on experts in the field. It's not my stuff per se. I'm always learning from someone else. Jacques Fresco said this, and he said this very well. A humanist, inventor, futurist. He said, we rest on the shoulders of giants, and we stand on the shoulders of giants, and that's all I do. I've got some interesting techniques and how I use that and the energy and the essence, and I bring my own personal life experiences, how I've interpreted those experiences, what I've made them mean, my own personality, my balance of humor and seriousness and all the things in between, all the minutiae. So what is unique about sessions and programs is me, and also what my mission is and what I'm dedicated to, how committed I am to helping humanity elevate. Not that I'm less or more committed than someone else, just in a slightly different way. But as the how's it go? All paths lead to Rome, or the Baha'i faith is all paths to the top of the mountain go to the same. All the paths lead to the same place. The 7 major religions in the world and spiritual practices. So ultimately, if we have an intention of assisting others and being of service and helping ourselves grow and also helping others grow, I think we're all going to the same place per se. Swami Srivipananda said, and I love him. He's a contemporary Swami who's the head Swami of the New York Society of Vedanta, and he says, I teach and I get to learn twice. So I love that. I love that. I mean, I say that all the time now. It's like, I'm teaching, because I'm learning twice. I mean, we teach what we need to learn the most, right? So, and maybe, I don't know what's, I can say I'm unique about me, but I don't know, maybe probably best to ask people that have worked with me and that do work with me, what's unique about me.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a great segue into right here. So some praise that Daniel the Rock Dawson,
good friend and a very good fighter. Yeah.
Oh, right on. Yeah. Stefanos has a great adaptivity. Regardless of the challenge, he will find a way to keep moving forward. Hear that, everyone? Keep moving forward. Being effective and draw you closer to your goals. Stefanos's attitude towards life is a journey of self-discovery with purpose and unwavering focused intention in anything and every action. It is his way of being and relating that allows those around him to thrive off his energy and wisdom. 8-time world champion fighter.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Rock.
Yeah.
Amazing. So talking about your sessions and offerings, you have conscious mentorship, the conscious warrior, reclaim your kingdom. And your next offering is Be the Queen.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I'd love for you to share about that program, and I have the information below here. Be the Queen begins April 21st. So
it's a virtual program, which is probably a good thing now. There is a graduation day at the end of the program, which is 4 months away. In fact, it's probably more like 5 or 6 months away. So,
Mm.
I want to anticipate and say that the world will be in a different state of affairs by then in a more healthy, positive way. But regardless, it's a virtual program, and this is really for any woman that is wanting to call in an amazing relationship. We have had, it's mainly single women, but we have had definitely in our last Be the Queen, there were 60 something women. It was a beautiful container. And there were some women that were in a relationship really wanting to elevate their relationship, understand themselves, because a lot of this is self-work. So my queen, my beautiful queen, Christine Hassler, and I, we run this together. It's a 4-month container. There's 9 live sessions, live meaning virtual live sessions. There's a private Facebook group. There's a lot of self-work and love work that's throughout, and a curriculum, a love-based curriculum that really help the ladies open up and heal the past, clear up the past so they can step into the present and define and create their future, and bring in that man of their dreams, or that partner of their dreams, and that relationship that they really deserve and desire. And that's what the program is essentially about. So I'm super excited about it. We run a couple every year. Well, we've just started, but the intention is to run a couple every year. We ran one last year into this year as well, which was a beautiful container. So very excited about this. There's a number of women already on board. We commence in about a month's time.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how long have you been with Christine?
We've been together for nearly 2 years.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to share a beautiful photo of the both of you. Take us back to
the. Made me cry.
Take us back to that day, brother.
I was literally. I seriously got tears in my eyes, man. That's.
Oh, blessings.
Yeah, that was a really beautiful day. Yeah, it was just. It was a beautiful day because, obviously, Christine and I. She's just so beautiful and in all the ways, and we were just connected in another way than that we haven't been before. We were just surrounded by our dearest family and friends, 60 people, and it was a really beautiful time. The weather was beautiful. It was in Mykonos, just surrounded by loved ones. A lot of people came from Australia as well, and from America, and a lot of people made the effort to really be there for us, and that's to celebrate us and celebrate our love and our connection. And I'm probably missing them right now. I'm missing my brothers. I'm missing my dearest friends. And the isolation affects us all in a different way. Whilst I don't feel massively isolated, one of the hardest things being living here in the US, and I love living here in the US, and this is my home, and it feels like home. Yeah. But it's my friendships. I've had friendships for over 20 years, man, and not being in their physical proximity, especially during arduous times, it hurts. It hurts here.
Yeah.
And men need men, right? Men need really good men. Like women need really good sisters, or sister circles and sisters around them. It's very important that men have and are surrounded by healthy men that see them and that they are able to see and they respect and revere. And the advent of technology and internet, it gives me an opportunity to connect with them, but it's just not the same. And I miss hugging them. I miss being near them. I miss bantering. I miss training and moving our bodies together and putting ourselves through challenge and then growing together and having the minutiae of conversation that we have, seeing them every day,
Yeah.
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah. So there's some distance around that, some challenge for me around that at the moment, which it's okay. That's part of it. And it's sad for me as well.
Yeah. So, this is a interesting moment in time for us to experience. And, many Asian countries have in the past, like with SARS and bird flu, they've had quarantines and they've had to respond. This is really for people in North America, and this is like in the West, it's like a whole other experience. And it's so powerful because, I had a guest yesterday, Ashton, that was speaking about, let's not talk about the future. Let's not talk about the past. It's like be here now, this present divine moment. And a lot of times we're racing through life and we're spinning and we're chasing the shiny bright object. And it's like now, as you said, brother, it's about those connections, our friends, family, all of it. Just, we get to pause and slow down and breathe and recognize like, what is it that we're here for? And like, what is possible? And I really appreciate your gifts, and because your specialty is relationships. And so a lot of times when you hear the word relationship, I would imagine a lot of people feel like, oh, it's a relationship with fill in the blank. And so for me, I feel like the relatability to relate. You think in the word relatives, right? There's people in our family. And there's been so much, I feel like on the planet right now, before this, so much crunchy energy, right? And in general, whether you felt it in your own personal world and you had your own energetic container and your bubble, your boundaries, I feel like this is a moment where we're all having this consciousness of connection. And like, as you say with Carl Sagan, and I've used some of his I call them awareness sprinkles in my music.
Are you there? It seems to have paused.
The pale blue dot.
Yeah.
And so there's this microcosm and there's this macrocosm, and it's the space between. Well, I'm really inspired by who you are and grateful that you have so many offerings. And, next question is, where can we find you online? Because I know many people that are watching right now that now would say, wow, there's online programs. This would be great, especially that you and your wife are supporting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You can find me on stefanossifandos.com or Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. I love TikTok.
Nice. Hey, my music's on TikTok, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
I love
DTO.
It's so good. So good. Stefanos Sifandos. So super simple, but not so simple.
Yeah, well, you can see it on the screen right here.
There you go. Thank you, my brother.
Of course, yeah. Would you have any closing words or any thoughts to share with everyone that's watching right now?
Yeah, just thank you for being here. Thank you to the audience. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Dave, for asking me to be on your shows. It was a tremendous honor as well. I have a great deal of respect and reverence for what you do in the world, and just to everyone out there, just please don't be reactive, be responsive. And just take this opportunity to be willing to maybe explore, I know with all the uncertainty and unknown, maybe to explore some parts of self that are unknown, and maybe heal some of those parts that are hurting right now, or just give them some attention, some love, and just be willing to go into the discomfort with a sense of compassion and integrity, because I think that's where we're all going to grow as a collective. And that's the work. It's not necessarily easy for me either, but that's the work, right? Yeah.
I'd like to put on the 3 words here, and I feel like these are very powerful, and especially in this moment in time: resilience, awareness, expansion. I'll say that again: resilience, awareness, expansion. That's very inspirational for me right now. It really calls me into action of moving forward, just like the testimonial from your friend, The Rock. Awareness, like what are we able to drop in? And then this opportunity to expand. And I feel like being grounded and being at home, there's like, if anything, and I know with the energy centers and, of course, chakras, it's that when you have a full rootedness, that's expansion. I feel a lot of times people think of the word expand as we're going up, we're going out. We're like, and so for me, expansion has taken on a whole other interpretation of being rooted. And actually the other day when I was on a hike, I put my bare feet on the earth. It's just like breathing and feeling that connection to Pachamama, La Madre Tierra, Gaia. And, we've ignored her for how long, right?
Doesn't it sound so much nicer when we say it in Latin or Italian, Spanish? Like, La Madre Tierra. So much better than Mother Earth.
Yeah, you're going to respond to that connection to Earth.
Yeah. It's a big part of my process on a daily basis is getting into nature as often as I can. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that would be my one. And I think collectively between Stefanos and I is like, get outdoors and be connected, even if it's in your backyard, even if you're in this stuck house with the windows closed, open up the windows and breathe in oxygen to like fill up and do that breathwork activity that Stefanos has shared with us today on the show. So I really appreciate you, brother. And
thank you, brother.
It's an honor. Glad I was able to meet you in the physical form when we had that opportunity, and in these pixelations in this digitized technological realm that we're in. Sending blessings to you and your beloved. Thank you, brother.
Thank you. And likewise, brother. Thank you. Be safe. Be well.